45, and then it goes down and then goes back up towards the end, towards 2022.
Initially, there'll be a higher amount because of the refunding bonds. Those have to be refunded, paid out right away. So initially, we'll use a higher portion of it, and that will increase our outlay. The repayment is built over time. Yes, it is built on a plan. It also changes because the longer term of the bond, the further out you get, the coupons, if you will, the interest rate on what's left outstanding changes based on the perceived risk or return on investment for those bonds. So if you take a look at it, they're very inexpensive in the front end. I think there's some in the 1% range, and then it climbs up to something in the 3%, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just a matter of time.
Were you talking about the principal amount?
Yeah,
Mike?
yeah. It kind of bounces around from 2 1/4, 265, 185.
We have
As it goes
principal
on.
amount and then due date.
Yes.
Okay, there's a principal and interest payment in December, and then in June there's a principal only payment. That affects the amount that we
The
pay.
amount.
And
Okay.
these are our best guess at it. It is not what actually came out of the bond sale. This is based on the bond sales that they've currently been doing, and they're just trying to say this is what we think it looks like. It's like an opinion of cost.
So then we put this out, and then it's their responsibility. Then we choose by the interest rate and the yield.
Well,
When
it's kind of like
comes
going
back,
out.
or-
It's like going out for a bid. We're going
Yeah.
to take the people that give us the cheapest money.
But I mean, that's what they fill in.
Right.
We tell them the dollar amount, and then they fill in. We tell them the principal amounts here.
No, the exact number will depend on what the bid is for the bond. This is their estimate on what it's going to cost.
Okay.
Well, the interest rate is going to vary. I mean, if somebody wants to participate in this program or wants to issue the bond on our behalf, they're going to lower their interest rate.
Right.
The lower the interest rate, the smaller that number gets for
I
both the principal and interest, but only because more money is put into principal than interest.
Than interest.
The numbers aren't going to change a huge amount, because if you take a look at how low the interest rate is, it's not going to get much cheaper because there's not much, much lower than it can go. So it'll be in that ballpark, but it's not an exact number until the bonds are sold.
We don't have to pay them to take it yet. Okay.
What do we need to do?
We need a motion for the resolution to accept it. Motion
Second.
from Dalbach, seconded by Lennius. Roll call, please.
Grover,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Holland,
Yes.
Linneus.
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Dallenbach.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Next on the agenda, if I'm looking at it right, is our spring cleanup.
The spring cleanup, tentatively, I proposed June 6th. It would be consistent with the same weekend as what we had it last year. That weekend is available for waste management. I'm asking you to formally set that date so we can move ahead and promote it.
I talked to Denny Beerbauer today, and he said they could have if we're still gonna use River's Edge parking lot, he said they could have somebody down there accepting hazardous material.
Household hazardous waste. Right.
But the city would have to haul it out there to him, even though he has to accept it. And he says, well, it's probably how the government works, that figures.
Well, last year, people just took it out there, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true, they did, but if we want to, encourage them to get rid of that stuff, instead of drive clear out there, he said he would accept it right here for nothing.
We can always
If we
suggest
haul
that.
it.
That, we can
If you
look
are.
at that for details.
And he's already got it permission to where we can haul it, it's just that he can't haul it, he has,
Okay.
other than his pickup, no way to do it, so.
Okay.
Because what we want tonight is just to set that date to be the cleanup date. We'll have to work out the details of who all's gonna be involved last year. I know Bobens did tires, and we had Teniers that took electronics and TVs and refrigerators and all that stuff.
The only
and-
reason I mention that is Al asked me to check on it.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's something
So-
else that we can add. We've also talked about the possibility of doing, offering shredding. Do we want to bring in a commercial shredder for people that want to dispose of confidential records? It's another service that we might be able to add to enhance what we're doing, and that's automatically, you shred it and it goes into recycling
How
as
about
well.
tires? I'm gonna take tires.
Bobens took them last year.
Okay.
And that's,
Yeah.
that's what I saw.
So we have to just work out those details with some of them and
Take 'em to
possibly.
Bobens.
They took them to Bobens.
That's why
Bobens
I
was
still
open,
got, that's why I still got that one behind the garage.
because you didn't take it over there. They had certain restrictions as far as what they could accept and stuff, and all that information will be brought out prior to. But tonight, we were just wanting to see about setting that date of June sixth as the date for our citywide cleanup.
I make a motion to set that date.
Okay, motion by Hale, seconded by Grover. We don't need roll call for this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried, and our date will be June sixth. We'll work out details and keep you informed. Next on my agenda, I see Iowa DOT RISE project completion statement. Motion to approve and authorize the RISE settlement agreement to reimburse the Iowa Department of Transportation $72,273. Would you like to talk
This-
on that one?
Yeah, this is the RISE grant that was approved for Monsanto. They met a portion of the requirements of the RISE grant, not all of the requirements. To close it out, the formula that was included in your packet, it shows you how they came up with the repayment of $72,273. The RISE grant application is with the city, so we are responsible for repayment of the RISE grant. In turn, we have a memorandum of understanding with Monsanto to where we go back to Monsanto and then they repay us. But this is to close out the grant. This is part of our obligation. And from what I can see, this is a very fair and very reasonable settlement for the terms of the contract that were agreed to and not met, most of them based on the fact that we did not meet all of the employment levels that were suggested in the application.
So if I got it straight, Monsanto's actually footing the bill for us.
Ultimately, it passes through to Monsanto, that's correct.
Okay.
But in order, just to be really clear, the RISE grant obligation is the city's, and that's the way the RISE grant works. So we are, at this point, required to repay it. We will have to, and that triggers the Monsanto memorandum for us to go back to Monsanto.
I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Lenia, second by Vaughn. You don't need a roll call on this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. I'm down to reports. And we have an introduction. We have somebody that's here. We have two new people in our city hall. And if you would like to come up, Katie, and let us introduce you. I'll let you make the introduction. Don't be afraid, they won't bite. And if you'll see in front of their names is or in front of their seats is their names, so if you can put a name and face together, kind of figure
Okay.
them out.
Katie Bidwell has been with us for a couple of weeks now. We're excited to have her here. She can tell a little